Hi children, all of you welcome to English Home. Wish you a happy reading day. ഇന്ന് ജൂൺ 19 ആണല്ലോ. എല്ലാവർക്കും വായനാ ദിനാശംസകൾ. വായനാ ദിനവുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട് ടീച്ചർ ഒരു മത്സരം തന്നെ വെച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ എല്ലാവരും വീഡിയോ ഇന്ന് തന്നെ മുഴുവനായിട്ട് കാണുക. അവസാനമാണ് കോമ്പറ്റീഷൻ എന്താണെന്ന് അറിയാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ. റീഡിംഗ് കോമ്പറ്റീഷൻ. ഓക്കെ, ആർ യു റെഡി? യെസ്, ഓക്കെ.
Dear children, you have learnt how to write a description about forest in the previous class, haven't you? What about your homework? Hope all of you are done very well. Am I correct? Okay. ഈ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ നമ്മുടെ ലെസണിലൂടെ കടന്നു പോകേണ്ടതുണ്ട്. വാട്ട്സ് ദ നെയിം ഓഫ് അവർ ലെസൺ? യെസ്, ഹൗ ഫാർ ഈസ് ദ റിവർ. It is a story of a young boy like you who sets out on a trip to appreciate the beauty of nature. Where does he go? What does he see there? How does he feel? How can we find the answers of these questions? Yes, let's read this story. റസ്കിൻ ബോണ്ട് എഴുതിയ ഹൗ ഫാർ ഈസ് ദ റിവർ എന്ന സ്റ്റോറിയാണ് നമുക്ക് പഠിക്കാനുള്ളത്. പ്രകൃതി സൗന്ദര്യം കണ്ട് ആസ്വദിക്കാൻ ഇറങ്ങി തിരിച്ച ഒരു കുട്ടി. അവൻ എവിടെയാണ് പോകുന്നത്? അവിടെ അവൻ എന്തു കാണുന്നു? അവന്റെ അനുഭവങ്ങൾ എന്തെല്ലാം? ഈ ചോദ്യങ്ങൾക്കുള്ള ഉത്തരം നമുക്കറിയണ്ടേ? അതിനെന്താ വഴി? We have to read the story. Are you ready? Okay. Very good children you are. All of you take your English book and read the story. Then, who is the author of the story? Yes, Ruskin Bond. Take page number 12 and read about the author or writer, Ruskin Bond. Now, let's read the story. You can follow me. Okay. How far is the river? Ruskin Bond. Between the boy and the river stood a mountain. The boy was young and the river was small, but the mountain was big. The thickly forested mountain hid the river, but the boy knew it was there. He had never seen the river with his own eyes, but from the villagers he had heard of it, of the fish in its waters and of its rocks. He wished to touch the water and know it personally. He stood in front of his house on the hill opposite the mountain and gazed across the valley, dreaming of the river. He was about 12 years old, a sturdy boy with untidy black hair and shining black eyes. He had fine features and a clear brown skin, but his hands and feet were rough and scratched. He was barefooted, not because he couldn't afford shoes, but because he liked the feel of warm stones and cool grass.
It was 11 o'clock and he knew his parents wouldn't return home till evening. There was a loaf of bread he could take with him, and on the way he might find some fruits. Here was the opportunity he had waited for. His mother and father had gone to visit relatives for the entire day and had left him on his own. If he came home before dark, before they returned, they wouldn't know where he had been.
He went into the house and wrapped the loaf in a newspaper. Then he closed all the doors and windows. The path to the river dropped steeply into the valley, then rose and went round the big mountain. It was frequently used by the villagers. The woodcutters, milkmen, and mule drivers, but there were no villages beyond the mountain or near the river. The boy passed a woodcutter and asked him how far it was to the river. The woodcutter was a short but powerful man with a creased and withered face and muscles that stood out in hard, ugly lumps. 7 miles, he said, which was fairly accurate. Why do you want to know? I am going to the river, said the boy. Alone? Of course. But it's too far. It will take you 3 hours to reach there, and then you have to come back. It will be getting dark. Besides, it's not an easy road. But I'm a good walker, said the boy, though he had never walked further than the mile from his house to his school. The path was steep, and the boy had to run most of the time. It was a dizzy, winding path, and he slipped once or twice. The hill was covered with lush green ferns. The trees were wound in creepers, and a great wild dahlia suddenly reared its golden head from the leaves and ferns. Children, now let's stop our story here. We'll continue in the next class. ഫ്രണ്ട്സ്, ടീച്ചർ നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞ റീഡിംഗ് കോമ്പറ്റീഷനെ പറ്റി ഇപ്പൊ പറയാം. നമ്മൾ ഇവിടെ വായിച്ച പാഠഭാഗം ഹൗ ഫാർ ഈസ് ദ റിവർ എന്ന പാഠഭാഗം നന്നായി വായിച്ച് വീഡിയോ എടുത്ത് ടീച്ചർക്ക് വാട്സപ്പ് ചെയ്ത് തരിക. ടീച്ചറുടെ വാട്സപ്പ് നമ്പർ ഇവിടെ കൊടുക്കാം. ഏറ്റവും നല്ല വായനക്കാരിയെ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വായനക്കാരനെ ടീച്ചർ തിരഞ്ഞെടുക്കുന്നതായിരിക്കും. സമ്മാനവും ഉണ്ട്. നിങ്ങളുടെ സമ്മാനം നിങ്ങളുടെ അടുത്ത് എത്തുന്നതായിരിക്കും കേട്ടോ. ഓക്കേ children, now it's time for homework. Here there are 6 questions for you in the page number 9 and 10. You can find out the answers of these questions. You can see the answers in the passages of our story. Okay? Bye bye. Homework ചെയ്യാൻ മറക്കരുതേ. Happy studies.